In a quiet lakeside cottage nestled at the edge of a timeless town, lived a woman whose life once danced with dreams of grand stages and roaring applause, but who, through life's gentle twists and unexpected silences, discovered a deeper, quieter kind of joy. Ms. Eleanor Bennett, an 80-year-old retired violin teacher, with a heart full of memories and music, had seen the seasons of life unfold like a symphony. Love, loss, ambition, disappointment, and grace. While others might have seen her solitude as sorrow, Eleanor had learned the quiet secret that happiness isn't found in noise or achievement, but in presence. Her story isn't about the spotlight, it's about what happens when the spotlight fades, and a woman chooses every day to find light within. This is not just the story of a musician, it's the story of how to be truly happy in every season, no matter what life plays. Miss Eleanor Bennett, a soft-spoken 80-year-old retired violin teacher, lived alone in a small cottage overlooking Pinecrest Lake, a serene stretch of water she had walked beside every morning for the past half-century. She was once filled with youthful dreams of grandeur, concert halls, world tours, admiring audiences, but life had something different, in store. She married her college sweetheart, raised 3 children, and eventually, as the years passed and her husband, died, she found herself in a quiet house with memories echoing through empty rooms, the violin resting untouched in its case. Yet Eleanor was determined not to let solitude or any other circumstance steal her joy. On this particular depths spring morning, the air was crisp and the lake mirrored the cotton-white clouds drifting overhead as Eleanor filled her old teacup and wrapped a shawl around her shoulders. She closed her eyes and thought, happiness doesn't arrive only with milestones or momentous events. It's something you cultivate daily, no matter which chapter of life you're in. She remembered a time decades before, as a bright conservatory student, obsessed with perfection and validation, how she had felt crushed when she didn't win a national competition. In that moment, grief overwhelmed her young spirit, but her mentor, Madame Lefebvre, held her hand and whispered, true artistry and true joy isn't learned in applause, but in how deeply you connect with the music, with others, and with yourself. That lesson took root, and grew, though Eleanor didn't fully understand until later. As a teacher, she guided countless students who stumbled, failed auditions, went through heartbreak, yet found in music a balm and a bridge. One of her shyest students, Margot, had been unable to play in front of a crowd until a small recital in Eleanor's living room, where every small laugh and clapper in her tiny audience ignited something powerful in the student's heart. Eleanor's greatest happiness had been in those whispers of courage, when Margot's bow stopped shaking and she played her first melody without fear, and that reminded Eleanor there are infinite victories between the beginning and the end of any journey. Back in her cottage, Eleanor sipped her tea and watched a dragonfly skitter across the lake surface, its wings catching sunlight like stained glass. She realized how its beauty wasn't diminished by its tiny size, nor by the fact that it wouldn't perform on grand stages. Yet it chose to live fully. Later she found herself humming a tune, and on impulse, opened her violin running her finger along the strings before positioning it under her chin and letting sound fill the quiet room. As the first note resonated, she felt tears of gratitude, of remembering, that had no connection to sadness, but to gratitude for this moment. Immediately, her phone buzzed with a message from her daughter. Mom, thinking of you today. Want a FaceTime? And Eleanor grinned, realizing there was joy in connection, regardless of distance. After the call, she stood stretching in the afternoon sunlight, slanting through the window, and took the violin outside to her favorite bench by the lake. A small audience of ducks drifted by and a neighbor's cat strolled close, ears perked. She closed her eyes and played Vivaldi's Spring Concerto, not flawlessly, but from the heart. Each note she played was an affirmation that life, full of quiet days and unexpected storms, still offered countless opportunities for joy. It wasn't the grandeur of performance, but the intimacy of being fully present, even with one small audience, even when chords wavered, that made her truly happy. As the sun sank behind the trees, Eleanor finished her bow and wiped tears of contentment from her cheeks. Later that evening, she journaled in her leather-bound book. Today I am grateful for the lake's reflection, the dragonfly's dance, the sound of my own breath as I play, and the laughter of my daughter, even across time zones. This is happiness. And she slept knowing that being happy in every situation wasn't about having everything she once longed for. It was about embracing the beauty already surrounding her and choosing to live with an open heart, no matter her age or circumstance.